Hello and Assalamualaikum. My name is Abdulqayyum bin Azalezah, and today I will be presenting my infographic title called Verbal versus Non-Verbal Communications, Finding the Right Balance in Professional Communication. Before we begin, let's first understand why communication is so important in the workplace. Every day, we communicate to share information and exchange ideas, solve problems, and build professional relationships. However, effective communication is not only about the words we use, it also depends on how we deliver our message. To start with, let's look at the verbal communication. Verbal communications refer to communications through spoken and written words. It is mainly used to share information, explain ideas, and give the instructions in both academic and professional settings. Some common examples of verbal communications includes meetings, emails, presentation, and phone calls. Since verbal communications relies on words, it allows messages to be delivered in a clear and organized manner. Now that we have understood the verbal communications, let's move on to the non-verbal communications. Unlike the verbal communication, non-verbal communication does not involve spoken or written words. Instead, it focuses on how we express ourselves through facial expression, gesture, posture, eye contact, and tone of voice. These non-verbal cues often communicates our emotions, attitudes, and intention. In many situations, they can even strengthen or change the meaning of words we speak. For example, saying, "I'm fine," with a smile creates a different impression from saying the same words with a serious facial expression. Now, let's compare verbal and non-verbal communication. As shown in the comparison table, the verbal communication focuses on spoken and written words, while non-verbal communications relies on body language and visual cues. In addition, verbal communication is mainly used to deliver information and is easier to document. On the other hand, non-verbal communication is commonly used to express emotion, is often indirect, and is more difficult to record. Although these two forms of communications are different, they actually complement each other. When used together, they help people to communicate more effectively and reduce the risk of misunderstanding. After understanding the differences between verbal and non-verbal communication, let's look at the why both are equally important. Effective communications happen when our spoken words and body language send the same message. When both of forms of communications are consistent, they help build trust, improve teamwork, reduce misunderstandings, and increase workplace effectiveness. To achieve the effective communications, there are several best practices that we should follow. First, match your words with your body language so your message can appear sincere and consistent. Second, maintain appropriate eye contact to show confidence and respect when communicating with others. Next, practice active listening by paying full attention while others are speaking instead of simply waiting for your turn to respond. In addition, speak clearly and confidently to ensure your message is easily understood. Finally, respect cultural differences because communication styles may vary across different cultures and backgrounds. To conclude, both verbal and non-verbal communication play an important role in effective professional communication. While verbal communication helps us deliver information through words, non-verbal communications reinforce that message through body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. Therefore, when these two forms of communications work together, they create a clearer communications, build trust, strengthen professional relationship, and contribute to a more positive workplace environment. And that also wraps up my presentation. Thank you for your attention, and that's all from me.